What's going on, guys? Ryan with Jedha Patrol back with another video. Today we're going to take a look at the Mk85. I want to do a little posing session with this guy. I'm super excited about this one, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to do some simple museum type poses just like this one, which is really how I've had mine posed up for a good minute since I did the unboxing video with it. And then we'll do some more dynamic stuff, some flight poses, and we'll have some fun times with this. If you haven't already picked this one up, I highly recommend it because it is just beautiful. It's actually becoming one of my favorite Iron Man figures in the entire collection. So I would definitely recommend you pick it up because it looks like the Mark 46 concept, and the colors, the red, the gold, everything is just beautiful. So taking a close-up look here, guys, I've got the Nano Gauntlet up here. This is a very simple pose. I've got the refocuser in the back, and you can just see how the colors are kind of popping off this thing. We're going down. We've got a simple, I mean, just very basic pose. This is about as museum as you can get without, you know, just having to stand there looking at, you know, the wall. But we got that left arm fist, kind of a 90-degree bend. We've got a pretty good bend on the right arm, and just take a look at that Nano Gauntlet. It is awesome. It is awesome. Now the batteries, I'm really not going to mess with in this video because honestly I pretty much killed them while I was doing the unboxing and review video. But yeah, that's just one of those things I'm not going to be particularly messing with. So this is a pretty simple one, good one to start out with. Let's go ahead and do another. Moving on to the next one. This is a more of an angry Iron Man. I'm getting ready to, you know, fight you kind of deal. This reminds me really of kind of Iron Man 1 and maybe a little bit of Avengers, where he's just like kind of, you know, ready to go with his fist versus breaking out all the nanotechnology. But we do have the nanotechnology, so let's see, you know, check out how it looks. So I've got that right leg way back, and you want to make sure you move those flaps out of the way on the hips so you don't break those off. But I got the right leg way back. I've got the front leg, the left leg leaned up, I mean, pretty far forward. And then we've got the dual wielding fists going on, and yeah, just fun, just fun. I do have the torso extended, and so I can get a good bit of twist there, as you can see in that middle section there. You can see I've got the twisted pretty good, and then we've got them leaned forward a good bit. And I think this is a pretty fun pose. I kind of dig it. It's very simple, very sturdy. It's not going to fall over as long as you get the mainly the front. The front foot is real main, you know, the issue, and the back foot being flat like that. Even if it's not flat on the ground, but flat along the side of the foot, I don't think you're really going to have any issues with that. And it's, you know, it's a pretty good pose. But you want to make sure you get those flaps out of the way before you pose it up with those legs, and then you can put them back in place. And but there you go, guys. There's the second pose. Let's move on to the third one. Next pose up, guys, actually changes out the right fisted hand for a repulsor blasting hand. Funny story on this one. As I was redoing this and taking that hand off, I realized that is actually the hand from the Mark 46 concept. This is not even from the Mk85. Somehow that hand, it must have happened in one of my posing videos, that hand got mixed in with the 85 accessories. So fun fact there. I don't know if anybody would have noticed that, but I'm coming clean, and I'm being honest, and it just is what it is. But I'll pretty much have the same pose going around. That back foot way back, front foot leaning on the front left leg, and then the really only thing I changed is I tilted his head a little bit, and I changed out that repulsor hand, and I raised up that elbow a pretty good ways. And I think this is a pretty cool dynamic pose, and I'm pretty happy with it. So it's not a huge departure from the last one. Sometimes it only takes a little tweak depending on how dynamic you want to get. But I think this one looks pretty good. He is definitely ready for action. All right, guys, we've got a flight pose going on here. Now this was an interesting one because I was trying to figure out how I would get this guy to fly with the heavy weight of this figure. This is War Machine weight, you know, die-cast figure. It's a lot of die-cast, and the waist grabber isn't really the best support to put around the waist, and it honestly doesn't really get it up that high. So what I found, and a lot of Iron Man figures actually use the waist grabber around a leg. So I'll pick a leg, go with that one, and I balance it. And you may not be as brave to try this out, but as long as you balance it well and you don't have, like, you know, animals running by knocking stuff over, it's pretty much gonna sit there. And you're not going to have too much an issue with it. Just make sure it is absolutely balanced before you walk away. But here we go. We've got Iron Man here in a nice little flight pose. And one of the things with flight poses, you want to make sure the legs are kind of doing different things. You don't want them, unless you're doing that like lift off where his legs are like tight together and he's pushing off, lifting up, and looking straight up in the air, you might want to do that. But if he's in an action pose, rarely are the feet kind of going in the same direction. So here we go. I've got both repulsor blast hands, the correct hands on it this time, not the Mark 46 hands. And I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. The only thing you probably could do on it, if you want to open up the flaps on the back, you probably could do that. But I decided I didn't really want to mess with that, and I think this actually looks pretty good. So I was happy with this one. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next. Here we go, guys. I've got him in a kneeling pose. He's battling. I've got both repulsor blaster hands in the figure. I've got his right hand back behind him, kind of like a stabilizer, if you will. And then I've got the left arm outstretched as if he's getting ready to blast one of these CGI army figures. And I think that looks pretty stinking good. This is absolutely something you can do. You don't have to worry about it falling over. You don't have to worry about hurting the figure. Again, you want to make sure you move those flaps out of the way of the legs. But it's an iconic Iron Man pose, I think. He's like looking down that arm, getting ready to fire that repulsor blast. He's got the back arm back. I think I like everything about this pose. I'm pretty happy with this one. And it's not very difficult to do. I think you could pull this one off. I think this one might have taken me like 5 minutes. It wasn't all that difficult. But again, make sure those flaps are out of the way because you will break them. And I really don't want you to break your figures because for 450 bucks, that would make anybody just really, really sad. But really digging the details on the 85. Again, like I said earlier, becoming one of my favorite Iron Man figures in the collection. It really is. And pretty happy with it. So hope you guys like this pose. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Last but not least, we've got another flight pose. And I think this is probably where my figure is going to end up being. For at least a good minute. I like flight poses for Iron Man figures. They just are iconic. They're fun. They make the other figures get to sit on the ground, like your Star Wars figures, your Captain Americas, your whatever. They kind of hang out on the ground, but Iron Man can fly and he can do awesome stuff, and I think this is a cool one. So one thing with flight poses, again, you want to make sure one leg is going a little bit forward and one leg kind of outstretched back because of stabilization. Then he's got his both hands behind his back, stabilizing himself with his repulsors. And I've got a pretty good twist going on. He's kind of looking off to his right. And I've really liked the Iron Man helmet because it has a ton of articulation, as you can see right here. You cannot do that with the Tony Stark portrait. Like it just ain't happening. So one of the reasons I really don't use the portraits in my Iron Man figures is because I love the helmeted sculpt. I love that they can look wherever I want them to look and I don't have to worry about what direction the eyes are going. And so I'm pretty stoked with this one. So pretty happy with this flight pose all around. I dig it. Now I think this is going to hang out maybe up there near the Hulkbuster way back in the back. As you can see, there's some changes going on. I'm remodeling stuff as always because I like changing stuff up. And we're having some fun in the studio. If you haven't already, guys, subscribe to the channel if you like stuff like this. We're going to do more posing videos. In-game Captain America is on the way. We'll be here any day. We're going to unbox that guy. We're going to have some posing videos with that one as well. And super excited for that one. And we're actually giving away, and I'll be announcing this, the how to win it very soon in the Patrol Facebook group. So we're going to be actually giving away an in-game Captain America as part of the Patrol Facebook group. So if you haven't already joined the Facebook group, you might want to do that. Links down below. You can check that out. And we're also giving away, for our 6-scale Patreon supporters in the month of February, we're giving away a Mark 85. So that's awesome. So if you want to check that out, links down below for that as well. So pretty ridiculous giveaways for the month of February, honestly. A Mark 85 diecast Iron Man. We're going to vote an in-game cap and all that's just kind of goodness we try to give back to the community here. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. As always, click what you like. We'll see you next time.